In a world where carbs are your enemy, you need one man to help you fight your battles. That man is Jimmy.
Combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. If you want to engage live in the content, you got to go follow me over on Instagram Live. I'm at Living Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live just like Berkeley and Bonnie and Sundance and Keto Teacher Mom Lindy, Tammy, so many people coming in right now to engage in Jimmy Rants. Thank you guys for being here. If you missed the live, you can watch it on replay for up to 24 hours. After 24 hours, though, it does disappear, which is why we put all the past episodes up on YouTube. If you type in a keyword search Jimmy Rants, you will find the show. Finally, the best of the best moments of this here show, it's in podcast form. It's the Jimmy Rants podcast over on Apple Podcasts as well as Stitcher. All of these links, you guys, are at JimmyRants.com. Today's Jimmy Rants was inspired by a message I got on Instagram this morning. So as you can imagine, I get a lot of messages through the various social media platforms, email, really in all formats of communication. And on Instagram, I usually get a lot of people asking questions. I get people that are looking for inspiration. I get people that want to tell me how much my books have meant to them in their life. But sometimes I get one of those. And those of you that have built something in the keto space, you know what I'm talking about when I say that. Today I got a message from a lady that says, "Hi, I'm a newbie to keto, and I need you to explain yourself. Why are you still dealing with weight when keto is supposed to be the answer? I don't want to go through all this trouble of going on a low-carb ketogenic diet if I'm going to end up looking like you." Yep, she went there. So what I want to talk about here today is a very important topic. And I've talked about this many times on Jimmy Rants in various ways, but I think we need to separate the people who promote keto from the message of keto. And if we remove this whole perception that keto is only about weight loss, and it's only valid if someone, quote, looks the part, as I put it in the comment there, looks like Adonis, then we remove all the stigma that's associated with keto being this negative thing, because there is this notion of, well, if you're going to promote keto, you must be absolutely perfect. And I get this a lot, because Jimmy Moore doesn't have the weight off his body, that invalidates the keto message. Does that make any sense at all? To me, the message of keto is true regardless of what any advocate looks like. It is. The message of the diet is based on science, is based on what has been shown in studies and based on a lot of people's success with it. But the current look of someone, or the current whatever you want to describe of someone who promotes it, doesn't change that message. Does the veracity of a ketogenic lifestyle change because I still happen to have weight on my body? What do you do with someone like Danny Vega? Danny Vega, if you don't know him, he's a big muscular guy that uses keto. What do you do with Robert Sykes and his wife Crystal, both very fit human beings not an ounce of body fat to complain about on their bodies. And they're the look of kind of what you're looking for, I suppose, that Adonis look. They do a ketogenic diet. So how do you simultaneously discredit keto because of Jimmy Moore, but then say, oh, but Robert and Danny and Crystal, and those are just three of my friends that I'm mentioning, but there's many more that are healthy and look healthy and fit. To me, I think associating any given diet with any given advocate for said diet is the wrong thing. And I'll even extend this to the vegans. I know there's a lot of critics of the vegan lifestyle. Well, look at this person and they look emaciated and they look blah, blah, blah. I think that's wrong too. I don't think we need to be associating per se the perception that keto is only valid when it's promoted by somebody who's, quote, perfect. I don't. And we also need to keep in mind that there are people at various points in their journey. There are people with various challenges. So yesterday I was in an interview, and I showed it here on Instagram, with my friend Trent Holbert. So Trent has never had a weight problem. It's never been about weight for him. He has autoimmune disease and some other chronic fatigue and other issues that a ketogenic diet has helped immensely help him heal from. And so it was never about weight loss for him. So how do you measure the success or failure of keto with someone who's not doing it for weight? Are they controlling that fatigue? Are they getting the autoimmune condition under control? And that's what you're looking at. And for him, by the way, yes, he has. But it was never about weight. So somebody could look at him today and say, oh, wow, he does keto. Look how fit he is. Man, he's a good advocate for keto. But he never had weight. It was never about weight. What about the people who do this for controlling their epileptic seizures? Those people, for the most part, never had weight either. But they did it to control their seizures. And you look at them, well, they don't have weight on the body. Oh, they're a good keto advocate. But you get someone with insulin resistance coming around, and that person has fought their whole life with weight, and then keto brings it down a little, but maybe there's still challenges that happen with the weight. And yet, people will look at that and say they're not allowed to talk about nutrition. They're not allowed to talk about health until all that weight comes off the body. And it's just a fascinating discussion to think about of why we do that, why we predicate all the eggs in the basket of someone must absolutely be perfection, Adonis in this case, in their body, if they're going to dare talk about keto. And I'm kind of over it. Are you guys over it? Because I think people are beginning to realize that this over obsession about how people look and what their weight is, it's been blown out of proportion. I think we have discouraged so many good people who would be amazing advocates for keto, for example, but they're so afraid of the judgment and the scorn that comes because of this continued perception that they would be invalidated based on how they look. And even people in the midst of their journey, there's some incredible people who in the midst of their journey should be talking about what they're learning, should be articulating some of these lessons that they've learned and pass it along. That's why I have mad respect for Suzanne Ryan from Keto Karma. She started a YouTube channel day one of starting keto. So she was extremely obese at the time. And she started it with the hopes of making it an accountability partner. But then right before our eyes, everybody saw that she was losing weight. But more importantly, in the midst of that, she was sharing publicly all the things that were happening in her mind, all the things that she was learning. Should we invalidate Suzanne Ryan on day 5 of her journey because she was sharing even at that point? No. She had invaluableness to other people, which is why she grew her following so well. And today she has almost 500,000 Instagram followers, maybe more than that now. I haven't looked in a while. My point here today is let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's remove all of that perception that is out there that someone who does keto, who promotes keto, who is about advocating for a low-carb ketogenic diet, everybody who shares the information has not changed. No matter what the person looks like, that information has not changed. It's the same diet that they learned about in the early 1920s. And all you're doing now is articulating that information. Now, if someone chooses to judge that information based on how the messenger looks, fair enough. I get it. I know we're very visual people, and you see someone like me and the lady that wrote to me, and those of you that just joined us, I got a message last night. This lady wrote to me and said, I'm a newbie to keto. You need to explain yourself why you look the way you do. If you're keto, I'm trying to lose weight with this, and if that's the way you're going to look, then I don't think I need to do keto. And I'm, okay, yeah, that's what started this Jimmy Rants today. But we need to be mindful that it's the message that matters, not the messenger. Now, does the messenger want to look the part? You bet I do. Would I sell more books if I, quote, looked at like an Adonis? You bet I would. But I think I reach more people being real. I think I reach more people talking about all the reasons why the weight's still in the body, which I have done abundantly. By the way, I sent this lady a link to my low-carb cruise lecture where I talked about going away for 6 months on sabbatical. And I said, watch this. It'll give you a lot of context for the weight. And she watched it and she wrote me back and said, oh, I'm so sorry. So she was contrite once she got context. But it was the whole point of automatically just assuming that keto was invalid simply because I, quote, didn't look the part. So, welcome to my world, you guys. That's the kind of stuff I deal with. And part of the reason we're going away for a little while is getting away from that. And I'm hoping in these last few weeks of being around until September 1st comes around, I'm hoping I can impart challenges to the keto community. And one of my challenges that's really strong in my heart is we've got to stop with the judgy. The judgy is a cancer that no drug or no diet or no nothing's going to be able to fix. This rush to judgment and this rush to make people feel bad because they're, quote, not doing keto well enough, whatever. All of that stuff has got to come to an end. That is the thing that is going to wreck it a lot faster than anything else any vegan, anybody could do, is people within keto, within this space, being judgmental. And I even talked about this in my low-carb cruise talk, that for a while there, a lot of the judgment that I got was from vegans. They would make mock videos of all the low-carb advocates that they thought was too fat to be promoting nutrition and health information, which I was cool with that. If they want to make a video, haters make me famous is the old saying. But then when it started happening within the keto community, that's when I knew something bad had shifted, when something became wrong. And I'm calling that out right now. I'm calling for the keto community to cool it. You know, you wouldn't disparage someone in your own family when you've got other enemies out there that are doing the same thing. Well, why do we do that in the keto world? We need to rally behind this message. And as big as we think keto is, at the end of the day, keto is still a very small segment of the consciousness of the people that are out there. Very small. Yes, it's growing. Yes, there's more people aware of it. But I don't think we have so many people doing keto now that we should beat each other up. And yet that's exactly what I see going on. It's exactly this whole idea of what we're talking about here today, of the perception that keto is only valid if you look like you look the part, like Adonis. We need to get away from that. We need to remind people keto is good for you whether you've got weight on the body or not, for various medical conditions, which we've talked about. If you have weight on the body, it should help, but it may not be the ultimate magic pill panacea, keto alone. Keto plus some other biohacks and getting your sleep in order, stress under control, hormones balanced. So many things go into what determines what your weight is. And so if we're going to judge people where they are right now, regardless of where they are in their journey, if we're going to judge people based on their appearance, I think that's so superficial. I think you put an added layer of stress and an added layer of complexity to something that doesn't need either one. So, the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is let's remove that perception that keto is only valid if everyone who promotes it, advocates for it, has products that they sell for it, whatever, has books on it in my case, looks like an Adonis. And guys, I'm okay with never looking like an Adonis. I am. That's not me. What you see is what you get. And I make no apologies for it. I don't apologize for being where I am in my weight and health journey. Would I like to be less in weight? You bet I would. And I'm going to work hard on that during the sabbatical. But I put my health markers up against just about anybody out there because most of them are pretty darn good. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for being here today. Beth says about the person that wrote me the message on Instagram, what a rude twat waffle. Beth, I am so stealing twat waffle. It's got a carb in it, so it's really rude twat waffle. And that's being kind for people like her is what she said. That's good. M. Norman says, wow, that was rude as heck. Yeah. Bonnie said, how rude is her word? So many better ways to speak. Yeah, it kind of took me aback. But at this point, I'm so used to it, you guys. I get this kind of stuff all the time. But I suppose there's some part of me that goes, when does human decency and kindness and compassion ever come into discussion? When did we lose that? When did all that go out the window? Because I still try to treat other human beings as human beings and would never say some of the things that get said to me. Kitty Caddick says, explain yourself, really? Get to know me first. No? That was the thing. She said, I'm a newbie and new to your work, but you need to explain yourself. And I literally said, ma'am, if you follow my work for any given amount of time, you will find I explain myself probably more thoroughly than anybody in the keto community. And you guys know here on Jimmy Rants, I'm an open book. I don't sugarcoat anything. It's too high carb anyway. I tell it to you straight, and I tell it to you sometimes bluntly about what's going on. And you guys appreciate that. So it always amazes me. People, oh, you need to be more honest about your weight. I am all the time. I don't hide anything. And yet I don't stop my work in the midst of, well, I need to feel bad about myself because somebody says you don't look the part. No, I don't feel bad about myself at all. I think I relate to so many more people because of that continued pursuit of trying to get the weight and other issues under control. That's my connection with people. Berkeley says people have seemed to lose all decorum. Yeah, that is where we are. Jamie says just because someone is thin or fit doesn't mean they are healthy. Yeah, Jamie, we had a whole talk about that. My friend Stephanie Holbrook on the Low Carb Cruise did an entire lecture on that very thing, that there is a difference between those two things. And this is the thing to me. People judge me because of how I look, and, oh, you can't talk about keto because you don't look the part because the weight. And they equate weight on the body with unhealthfulness. But what about those people who don't have weight on the body? They're thin on the outside, but they're metabolically incredibly damaged on the inside. Doesn't manifest as weight. It manifests as disease on the inside. And yet people would look at them and say, oh, look, they're perfect to promote keto. But are they? Triglycerides of 300, are they? A1C of 6.3, are they? HSCRP, key inflammation marker of 7.5, are they? See where I'm going with this? Fasting insulin, 27, are they? And yet on the outside, they would look the part. But on the inside, they're falling apart. Which would you prefer? Yes, skinny isn't the only meter for good health. Exactly. Holistic ketosis. Bonnie says being in ketosis is about becoming healthy on the inside, not the outside. And yes, it's great to lose weight, but that's not what it's about. It is what it's about, though, Bonnie, for a lot of people. And again, the reason they care about weight is the same reason they care about their cholesterol. It's the same reason we care about any of these things that have become the mantra of what healthy is in our culture. We believe it because that's what we've always been told to believe. The moment we start thinking in another way, which is why you guys that are in the keto space, you start paying attention to triglycerides, you start paying attention to fasting insulin, you start paying attention to HSCRP, all of these things that in the general space of health don't ever get talked about. So it's always about context, context, context. But for people that still haven't gotten it yet, they're going to focus on cholesterol. They're going to focus on weight. And those are the things that they've been told, and the media and our culture reinforces that those are the things that matter. I will tell you, though, that over the past year and a half or so, as I've been speaking and going to do events and just talking to people one-on-one, I have gotten less and less judgment because of my weight. So maybe the message is getting through, that they respect the knowledge that I'm sharing about keto, despite the fact that if you looked at me, it may seem that keto isn't working for me. And yet those people have had no judgment for me. None. It kind of took me aback the first time I was thinking, okay, they're going to ask about the weight. And sometimes I still do get that. But for the most part, they're like, hey, you're obviously healthy. Look at all your energy. Look at all this knowledge you have. Look at your brain health. This is the thing I tell people too. If you think I was sneaking donuts or whatever they think I do that's keeping weight on my body, do you think my brain would be as sharp as it is? Not a chance. Now, I've always been academically excelled, but yeah, not a chance. Ketones have done that. Beth says, just as difficult to have people interested in keto when they don't have extra weight too, because weight loss is touted. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of people that they don't mess with keto because they think it's a weight loss diet, not realizing that for their autoimmune disease or neurodegenerative type of disease, epilepsy or things like that, that they don't even give it a second look because they view it as a weight loss diet. That's true, Beth. Worldly says, I think maybe it's hard for people to conceptualize that it is in fact possible to maintain your weight, whatever the weight that might be, because the rhetoric, I can't say that word today, is always about weight loss. Yeah. And people hear fat burning mode with getting into ketosis, and so they automatically think, oh, fat burning, you're just going to melt off the pounds. And for a lot of people, it does. But then what happens when you're fat burning and you don't need to, quote, melt off the pounds? Not about that, is it? Healthy Mission Wellness says, hello from South Africa. Well, hello. Thanks for being here. Berkeley says, just finished that interview with Trent. When you started this, very good. I have autoimmune conditions as well. I've already seen great improvement. I'm off my meds. My fatigue is gone. Yeah. Berkeley, congratulations, because that's exactly what Trent has found as well. Cincy Keto Girl, that's totally me. I backed down from keto conversations because I haven't lost any weight yet, but everything on the inside is changing. Don't you dare back down. We need people like you, Cincy Keto Girl. You're precisely why I'm doing this Jimmy Rants today. If nobody else gets anything out of this, I hope you do. I hope you realize that this whole perception that keto is only valid if you, quote, look the part is crap. Don't believe it. Let me be your encouragement today. If some schlub from Spartanburg, South Carolina can get behind this camera, and you guys know I go on camera every single day when I'm in my regular routine. I'm talking to you guys all the time. And I don't, quote, look the part. Does anybody that watches Jimmy Rants say, I don't get anything out of that guy because he's so fat? Does anybody have doubts in their head about what I'm sharing and what I encourage you with and the information that I share simply because I don't look the part? I don't get any of that. Now, maybe there are people that come in and go, whoa, what's this guy talking about keto? And they leave. But for most of you, you stick around because I've been around for 15 years and I've learned a lot of things, and I pass on that knowledge and that wisdom to you through this medium. That's why you keep coming back. And I appreciate it, by the way, that you keep coming back. But you don't judge because you've moved beyond that. But there are people like this person that wrote me today on Instagram who still have this notion of, okay, well, if you're going to talk about keto, you've got to be perfectly thin and fit and six-pack abs. And none of that's probably ever going to happen for me. I know I won't get six-pack abs, nor do I want them. That's the big thing. Everybody, oh, you got to have six-pack abs. I've never desired to have six-pack abs. Can I say that as a guy out loud? That's never been a goal of mine. I don't care. Now, if it happened, would I, oh no, I've got to pack on the pounds to get rid of that? No. But it's not something that's in my heart of hearts that I feel like I need to do to feel any more of a man than I am right now. Val says, weight is not an indicator of health or success. The benefits cannot be seen on the outside. It's how I feel and how my health is improved. Well said, Val. I love these Jimmy Rants. I love your realness. Thank you, Anita. I will always bring the real. And guys, I'm becoming more and more attracted to those accounts that are real. And I think we need to pour our energies into supporting those people that are totally open, honest, transparent, vulnerable. That's another lesson I want to pass on while I'm on my sabbatical. Encourage those people. Because guys, those people are the ones that are really reaching others. Those are the people that all the fakery and all the look at how perfect I am, and if you do my program in 5 easy steps, you can too, just send me 99. That stuff needs to end. That stuff is garbage. Give me somebody like my friend Brittany, Real Food, Real Life. Go find her here on Instagram. Give me somebody like Keto Coach Lauren. She's another one here on Instagram you need to know about. Give me people that are going to be real, that are going to share ups, downs, in betweens. Give me those people who are showing you what this is like in the real world. And they don't have to put on a face or a front. They don't have to pretend to be something they're not. I had another friend that was asking for my advice on a book, and she wanted to mention something about a biblical reference in the book. And she was afraid, her husband was afraid that would turn people off from her book if they're not a Christian or whatever. And I said, no. I said, if Jesus was a part of your journey, you share that part of your journey. If they take that away from you, then it's no longer your story. Be you, make it your story, and make no apologies for it. That's real. And we need to be supporting people that are going to be real in that way. Jesse says, I think the motive needs to always be nutrition and health. It should never be about judgment or competition. That's true, Jesse. And there will always be people that will be judgmental. So don't get me wrong. I think those people will always say, well, unless you're absolutely perfect in your health and how you look and blah, 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 you can't possibly talk about keto. Those people are always going to be there. But those are the people that I think need to be ignored and not given any credence, which is why I think we need to embrace those people that show warts and all and vulnerability and realness. Those are the people that are going to actually connect with other people and make a difference. Diane Byram says, people who judge have big problems. That has nothing to do with those who judge. Yeah, I like, there was some meme I saw the other day. What others think about me is none of my business. I like that. That's true. And what others think about you is more a reflection of them than it is you. But it's hard at a human level to separate that when your name is attached to it. So I get that. But it's good words of wisdom. It's something I'm going to learn during my 6-month sabbatical, how to deal with better. And Christine, she's the one I got to work on, because she just gets so fired up when she sees something. And I'm like, honey, let it go. Just let it go. If it's going to work you up that much, it's not doing you any good. And it's not about you. It's about them. It's a hard lesson. Definitely think about and pray for Christine during this time, because she's the one that's having the biggest difficulty with some of the turd balls, as I call them. Purple Owl Stitches says, never apologize for who you are. Never, ever, 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 ever. What's up, Keto Chow? Thanks for being here. Keto Elite, what up, what up? Yep. Twat Waffle M. Norman likes that. She's going to steal that one too. Purple Owl Stitches, it went out the window when people could hide behind a keyboard and be rude. They don't have to face their actions. Yeah, I was just talking with my right-hand man in my business today, Hank, and he said, you remember when you wrote 21 life lessons from Living La Vida Low Carb right at a decade ago? So it came out in 2009. I'm like, yeah. He said, you had 2 chapters in there that resonated with me at the time, and they're still so valid today. And the 2 chapters were, when you put yourself out there, people will love you. And they do. A lot of you guys, you come back here every day because you love me and you love the work that I do. But then I wrote another chapter that said, when you put yourself out there, people will hate you. That was 10 years ago, guys. And that chapter was based on a lot of the comments I was getting in YouTube. So before social media took off and exploded like it has now, before there was that, it was YouTube videos. And people started saying the most vile, ugly comments you could possibly imagine. It was a precursor to me of what was to come with social media, and now we're seeing it manifested. And so, yeah, it's definitely the anonymity makes it a lot easier. Keto Doc says, such cruelty, our society is decaying from the top down. Well, I think we've lost the element of human compassion and kindness. It's one thing I try to bring back at the forefront in all of my work all the time is love other people, respect other people. Even if you disagree, all the more mad respect and love and compassion for other people. If you don't agree, it doesn't mean you're the enemy. I did a whole Jimmy rants just on that subject not long ago. And yet people have gotten to the point of, well, if you don't 100% agree with me on everything, then you're my enemy. And I'm going, since when? When did that become the norm? Amy says, I get it on both sides. Leadership is supposed to be perfect, I guess. It's crazy to think only perfect people are in social media that are already exactly where they want to be in life. I'd rather follow somebody on social media that is in the midst of overcoming, and watch them in the midst of it, because it's in the little nuances of the things they're doing along the way that you learn so much. I'm trying to figure out the stress thing, you guys, and I've been very open and honest about that. How do you handle the stress? How do you overcome it? How do you deal with it in the moment of it all? And that's why a lot of you guys follow me. And if in the midst of this 6-month sabbatical, I learn incredible lessons, then when I come back, there's so much to share. You're going to get the benefit of that. I hope that happens, because I do want to share if I do figure it out. M. Norman, you shouldn't have to explain anything to anybody. I love you, and your honesty. I feel like I've been to a counselor after every Jimmy Rants. Well, lie down on my couch. How does that make you feel? Amy says your transparency is super refreshing. Thank you. Hi from Miriam's kid, Haley. Love you guys. Thank you, Haley. I love you too. Jesse says Stephanie Holbrook's cruise speech was great. It did resonate with a lot of people. Yep, she did it on why being fit and being healthy are not the same. Healthy Keto Shannon says, I'm living for this topic. Thank you. Do it. Live it. Don't be ashamed of it. I think it doesn't change until we change, which is why I wanted to do this Jimmy Rants today, that this whole perception keto is only valid if you look the part. We need to end that. We need to encourage everybody. And we need to encourage somebody who's on day 1 of keto or day 1001 of keto. I don't think we need to put some kind of time limit expectation on people that, well, you've been keto for X number of time. You should have figured it out by now and you should be Adonis. Why is that fair? How does that account for life circumstances that could get in the way? What if somebody lost a close family member and the stress of that put back on some pounds? What if someone developed an autoimmune condition, suddenly they have to go keto and it's supposed to heal everything forever and ever? I think it's unreasonable. We need to be kind, loving, compassionate. It would just be such a better place if we did. Alyssa, hey, how are you? My aunt was called Tofi by her doctor, thin outside, fat inside, and she has had 2 back surgeries due to all kinds of crazy inflammation. Her body manifests it in a different way. Excess weight is merely a symptom. And Alyssa, on the low carb cruise, there was a great talk by Amy Berger, which I cannot wait to share on the Live and La Vida Low Carb show. In July and August, I'm going to air a lot of the audio from the low carb cruise. So stay tuned for that, you guys. But her talk was about the fat threshold. And what Amy said was the most profound thing I've ever heard when it comes to weight. And it went something like this. If you're still gaining weight, it means your body's fat threshold has not been filled. So what happens when your fat threshold has been filled? Disease progression on the inside. And so for your aunt who's Tofi, her fat threshold was much lower than someone like myself who still has weight on the body. And it seems so weird, as long as you're gaining weight, there is a certain point where it's protecting you from getting diseased. Whereas if you stopped gaining weight, then the disease progression could take place. Now, neither one is good. Try to deal with, and that's what a ketogenic diet helps with, getting the weight down and getting the disease potential down. But for people like your aunt, they're far more in danger than any fat person will ever be. It was an interesting perspective, and I can't wait for you guys to hear Amy Berger's talk. Beth says, I have a fit-looking friend, only his eyes are yellowish and he has to take a shower 4 times a day because of his BO. It's out of control. Guess what he eats lots of? Gee, I wonder, Beth. Keto by Tony. Hello, Jimmy. Do you have any food intolerances that may be hampering weight loss? I've heard an intolerance could do that. I've had food intolerance tests, and food sensitivity is the test that I had run. And yeah, there's various things in there, and you work around those things. So yes, I've had those tests run, and I've worked on those. Hasn't really moved the needle. So that is something. But see, this is the problem too. There's so many moving parts to this. So food intolerance test is just one part of it. Sleep's another part. Stress levels is another part. There's just so many things at play here that we can't say, well, someone goes keto, they need to look the part and lose weight and look like Adonis. And I'm going, but you're neglecting all those other things that could be impacting all of that. Keto Doc, did you do a coronary calcium score? Yeah, I've had 2 of them done in the last 10 years, Keto Doc, and both have been a big fat 0, eating 75 to 80% fat. 0. Yet I'm so unhealthy. I just did mine. It was a testament to keto. Score is a great indicator for internal health. And yes, it's actually become now standard of care, Keto Doc. And people don't realize this, that their doctors are supposed to, when you get a cholesterol over 200, total cholesterol over 200, before they recommend a statin medication, they're supposed to run that CT heart calcium score. And many of them don't. Many of them haven't gotten the message yet. And I've consulted several people lately of, hey, did they run a CT heart scan? Did they get a heart calcium score, coronary calcium score? And they said, no. I said, that they're required to do it now. It's in their standard of care with the cholesterol guidelines. There is room for everybody in this community. Shannon, I like that. That's good. Mandy says, thank you for your work. You put yourself out there, so the enemy always tries to bring those who are good down. Thank you for that. I know I'm an easy target because of the weight on the body, but I'm also an easy target because I'm not afraid to talk about any subject, you guys. I know it's taboo to talk about why you still have weight on the body despite being keto. I get it. And people are like, whoa, he's taking away the very thing that we ridicule him about. Yeah, because I take it on. I take it head on. Don't back away from it. I'm not ashamed to talk about real life. Nobody should be, ever. And I think people put up these walls. Well, you're supposed to be this keto leader, and you're supposed to be able to like have this decorum of, yes, do this and you'll look like me. But no, I've never felt that compulsion. All I've ever felt like doing is sharing knowledge that I've learned and being real with you guys. Authentic in everything that I do. People are always surprised when they learn that I'm the same person in real life when they meet me that I am here on Jimmy Rants. Like, why is that a surprise? Do you think I put on a persona here? What you see is what you get. And I think if more people that promoted and was on camera and promoted themselves and all the things that I did would just act that way, how cool would the world be? It's why I love those accounts that are this way. Bonnie says, good point on the brain health. Exactly. If my brain health was declining, I wouldn't be as sharp. Guys, I don't ever prepare notes for Jimmy Rants. I don't ever prepare notes when I talk. I don't ever prepare notes when I do a podcast. I live and breathe this stuff. And I'm able to stay pretty sharp. Like I'm still recovering from a cold. I'm still very sharp because of ketosis. So if you want to say keto didn't work for me because I still have weight on the body, I think it's an insult to all the good health markers that have happened as a result. Keto Boomer says, brain health, brain health, brain health. If that was the only thing that I ever got out of keto for the rest of my life, that would be the one reason I would do it. Mandy says, prayers for you. Thank you. Angela says, love you, my keto brother. Thank you, Angela. RL Blackbean, I'm with you, Jimmy. I lost 18 pounds in the first month. 10 months ago, the best thing about keto is that energy and the feeling healthy and amazing. And it's the reason you continue to do it today. I'm still about 40 pounds from what I think I should be for my goal weight, but my body is healing and getting healthier every day. I would rather my body heal first and see all those health markers get better first, and then the weight come off. Because I think if you hurry the weight coming off, then the healing that made you fat to begin with can never truly take place. I think we put the cart before the horse. Let's heal the body. And for some people, the body healing happens quick, and then the weight loss comes. For other people, the body healing is going to take months, years, and then the weight loss comes. But in the midst of that, don't psych yourself out. Well, I'm not losing weight, so therefore this keto thing isn't working for me. It could be working brilliantly for you. It's just slow and steady wins the race. And you dropped out of the race before the race was over. Bess says, I've lost weight with so many different methods. Until keto, I never felt any kind of good on the inside. It was always temporary and because of superficial ego boost on sad woes. Yes. Shannon says, I think a lot of the opposing resistance is fear-based, insecurity-fueled, but nothing beats the facts. Your knowledge is backed by science, and you also have experienced many of the benefits. Yep. Tammy says, I'm still very conscious because I don't fit the part, but have reverse diabetes and improved lupus. There it is. It was about fixing those things for you, Tammy. And yes, weight loss should come if you need that. But the fact that you've reversed your diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and improved your lupus, those things are huge. You should celebrate. M. Norman says, I so trust your judgment. Who do you recommend? Recommending, I think you were saying about people being vulnerable. So Brittany at Real Food, Real Life. Love that girl. She's so real. And she's talking about some deep stuff right now, guys. Go follow her. Keto Coach Lauren, I think, is another one. She did an incredible talk on the Low Carb Cruise this year, all about body dysmorphia. She's definitely one that keeps it real. Crystal Love Sykes, she is the Lady Savage here on Instagram. She also talks very openly and honestly from the heart. I'm trying to think if there's any other guys that are vulnerable and open up. I'm probably insulting a lot of my friends right now, so I apologize. Trust me, if I'm talking about them, then they're totally legit. But those three ladies are all good friends of mine, and I just resonate so much with all three of them because they do share the good, the bad, the ugly, and the really ugly. And I connect with that on a human level. So go check them out. I agree. Show warts and all. I have some warts to share. Well, Jesse, you're sharing them now too. Jesse just recently talked about how she's trying to quit smoking, and I'm proud of you, Jesse. That's something that not everybody would admit that they still have an addiction to, and so you're wanting to overcome it, and you're sharing about it publicly. You're vulnerable right now. I love that. Beth says, I've done a lot of inside work on me, so mostly I've been liberated of the good opinion of others, mostly. Sending you both a big oorah from the Marines today. Thank you, Keto, Tiny, and Vintage. Did I say that right? Hoorah, oorah. I don't have a full voice, as I normally do. Amy says, ultimately, everyone has an opinion, but that's all it is. Just have to remind ourselves of that. Social media comes off so mean most of the time. Walk in love. Always. Amy Berger's talk was brilliant. I love her alternate view about insulin resistance. She explained it so well. Yeah, Jesse, I can't wait to share that. Sam says, I've lost over 100 pounds so far. People say, but your skin is saggy. So what I feel better, that's all that's important. That's all that is important. I've never understood well, you've lost 100 pounds, but now you need to do something about this result of losing 100 pounds. Go away. Don't you wish you could just get in people's faces and go, but that would be rude, so you don't. Lady Lixel, 2 weeks ago, I had blood work done. My doctor was impressed with the numbers, asked what I was doing. Keep it up was his reply. I'm getting healthy, and that's what counts. Lady Lixel, do not lose that doctor. That is one of the good ones. Kim says, I still have a belly. I'm 55 years old, have 4 daughters and a granddaughter. I no longer worry. I'm healthier than I've ever been. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters, Kim. Yes, brain health for all. Awesome reason to go keto. Healing is most important, says R.T. Varnell. Indeed it is. Sam says, it took you years to get to this bleep. It's going to take years for you to get better. Yeah. And I think people forget that. They have decades of weight gain and health decline. They go keto, and at the end of 7 days, they're like, why aren't I healed yet? Why haven't I lost X number of pounds yet? It's so unrealistic. Oh, thank you, Ketoneogenesis. Beth reminded me of 2 others that are very open. Drew Manning. Guys, if you don't follow Drew Manning, this is a guy, it's a personal trainer who purposely made himself fat and then purposely lost the weight, trying to show his clients what it was like to be living as an obese person and losing weight. Of course, it wasn't the same because he wasn't that for a long period of time. But he was so open to doing that. And now he's taken that vulnerability to a whole new level because he gets so deep about some of the insecurities he has had as a man. Go follow Drew Manning. Fit to Fat to Fit is his username. And then Beth mentioned Danny Vega as well. So go look up Danny Vega. He was on the Low Carb Cruise. And yeah, so much vulnerability and openness. It's awesome. RD, keto for life, not easy, but we need to. Yes. Yeah, you're one of those people that has been outspoken, Robin, and you're amazing. And you're extraordinarily vulnerable. Guys, go follow Robin Davis, Keto for Life, on her Facebook pages where you have a lot of engagement, Robin. Because she does. She shares good, bad, ugly. And we need people like you, Robin. We need people that are willing to put yourself out there and share. And sometimes be broken. And sometimes share things that aren't so pretty. That's real life. That's what helps people. Beth says, Fit to Fat to Fit for Drew. And Danny Vega is DannyVega.ms. So go check those guys out. So guys, the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is you're going to hear people trying to judge the keto space based on various keto advocates that they don't think look the part. And I think the time has come. It's long past coming. But we need to remove that perception that keto is predicated and only valid if everyone that promotes it and advocates for it and portends that they got benefit from it looks like an Adonis. It's not realistic. It's not fair to even the message of keto, because the world is full of all kinds of people, all shapes and sizes. Why do we think everybody should be one singular shape and size? We don't. That's not realistic. Mandy says, I always try to find beauty in things that are not perfect. I think, what's that John Legend line in one of his songs? All of Me, I think is the name of the song. The perfect imperfections. To me, that's what it's about. I would rather see someone that has something imperfect about them and they use it to beauty. So there's a stuttering comedian. I forget his name right now, but we've been watching some YouTube videos of him lately. He was on America's Got Talent a couple years ago, and he has a really bad stutter, and he does it anyway. And he's made the stutter into part of his act. So he will make a joke about, and he'll do it that way. And it's so amazing that he's taken this thing that everybody around him would ridicule him for and made it into something beautiful. Made it into something that people now laugh with him. Not laugh at him, but laugh with him, because he's taken this seeming imperfection, this seeming perception that he's not fit to be a comedian, and he's a comedian. And let that be a lesson that no matter where you are in your keto journey, or what you look like, or what you have to offer, you have something positive to offer in that imperfection. And that includes Jimmy Moore, which is why I keep coming back here to do these Jimmy Rants. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, you can engage live in the content. You got to go follow me over on Instagram Live. I'm at Livin' Low Carb Man, LivinLowCarbMan. Once you're there, you can engage live just like all these amazing people did here today. Keto Tiny and Vintage, love all your curves and all your edges and all your perfect imperfections. Yes, John Legend, that was just brilliant writing in that song, All of Me. If you missed the live, you can watch the replay for up to 24 hours on Instagram. After 24 hours, it does disappear. You'll need to pop on over to YouTube, type in a keyword search Jimmy Rants. You will find the show Finally, the best of the best moments of this here show, it's in podcast form. It's the Jimmy Rants podcast over on Apple Podcasts as well as Stitcher. All of these links, you guys, are at jimmyrants.com. Thank you for all the work you do for us. Thank you, Tammy, and thank you for being here. And guys, do me a favor. If you like what I do here, I don't charge a thing to do Jimmy Rants, but I do charge for books. And if you're looking for a good book of ketogenic recipes, I have a brand new one coming out on Tuesday that I would love to have your support for. It's called Keto Clarity Cookbook. If you'll go to ketoclaritycookbook.com, it'll take you right to the Amazon page. Comes out on June the 18th, this coming up Tuesday. And if you place a pre-order now for the paper or the Kindle, then they will have it to you on the day that it releases on Tuesday. So I would be very grateful for your support in that way. It's just a small token of appreciation if you get something out of these Jimmy Rants. I don't charge anything to do this. I don't have ads on here. I just want to share good information that encourages you and inspires you on your keto journey and in your journey of life. So if you appreciate what we do here, go to ketoclaritycookbook.com, place your order, and I really, really sincerely appreciate all of you guys being here. Have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Thank you, Keto Tiny and Vintage. Bought your cookbook. We'll pre-order. Can't wait to get it, says Liz. Thank you, guys. So we out of here. See you next time.